So the Free State Project is a libertarian movement. We're trying to attract libertarians to the state of New Hampshire. It's a mass migration movement. So really what we're trying to do, and we've been around since 2003, and our success stories are really piling up at this stage. But what we did is in 2001, this gentleman, Jason Sorens, he was a Yale student at the time, wrote an essay, and he was like, what would happen if we put all libertarians in one geographic area? You know, the problem is there are a lot of people who actually believe in freedom and the principles of freedom, but they're scattered all over America or frankly all over the world. And so he had this notion, if we sort of concentrated together in one spot, then maybe we would be able to make actual differences and actually achieve liberty in our lifetime. So I read about it back in like 2003. I started going to New Hampshire to sort of check out the scene. And in 2005, when I finished my MFA at City College, I actually decided, my husband and I were like, let's move to New Hampshire. Let's see what this is about. So we moved out, and the rest, as they say, is history, which you can read about in my book.
Well, we've seen just recently that there are many figures on the left, from Stacey Abrams to Governor Wolf of Pennsylvania, who just a few weeks ago were saying, for example, that voter ID laws were voter suppression. They were a form of racism. They were Jim Crow 2.0. Now they've completely retreated from that because they've looked at polls that show that 80% of Americans and 60% of minorities support voter ID laws as common sense safeguards for election integrity. And that, you know, we can in this country make it easy to vote, but also hard to cheat at the same time. We can do both. So the left has completely abandoned its opposition to voter ID laws as a principle, calling them racist and all that. And the same thing with voter fraud. For months, they've been saying there is no voter fraud. There is no voter fraud. Well, if you go to the Heritage Foundation's website, which is run by my co-author, Hans von Spakowski, what you find is there are 1,400 examples there of people convicted of voter fraud.
I'm an economist, a hopeless economist. I can't help it. But I'm also his historian, and I've taught as a professor of English and philosophy. And I think that economics shouldn't give up the math or the numbers or anything like that, but it should add to it what we can learn from the humanities, from, I don't know, Goethe and Shakespeare, Mozart for that matter. I learn a lot from Mozart every time I hear the flute and harp concerto. So it's an all hands on deck idea that in order to truly understand our economic lives, we have to understand our whole life.
The masters of Silicon Valley have imagined that they can create general purpose brains themselves. And this is a great delusion, and it results in bad strategy, and what you want to do is enhance human minds, not try to usurp your customers and your creators.